Hello everybody, welcome back to Gyandan. Today we're going to be looking at 100 things every designer needs to know about people. Suzanne M. Wednesday. How people remember. Chapter 21. People have to use information to make it stick. How do people move things from working memory into long-term memory? There are basically two ways. Repeat it a lot or connect it to something they already know. Repetition physically changes the brain. There are 10 billion neurons in the brain that store information. Electrical impulses flow through the neuron and are moved by neuron transmitting chemicals across the synaptic gap between neurons. Neurons in the brain fire every time we repeat a word, phrase, song, or phone number we are trying to memorize. Memories are stored as patterns of connections between neurons. When two neurons are activated, the connections between them are strengthened. If we repeat the information enough times, the neurons form a firing trace. Once the trace is formed, then it just starting the sequence triggers the rest of the items and allows us to retrieve our memory. This is why we need to hear information over and over to make it stick. Experience causes physical changes in our brain. In a few seconds, new circuits are formed that can forever change the way we think about something or remember information. Power of a schema. If I ask you to describe what a head is, you might talk about the brain, hair, eyes, nose, ears, skin, neck, and other parts. A head is made up of many things, but you've gathered all that information together and called it head. Similarly, I could talk about the eye. You would think about all the things that make up an eye: the eyeball, iris, eyelash, eyelid, and so on. The head is a schema. The eye is a schema. People use schemata, plural for schema, to store information in long-term memory and to retrieve it. If people can connect new information to information that is already stored, then it's easier to make it stick or stay long-term memory and easier to retrieve it. Schemata allows people to build up these associations in long-term memory. Just one schema helps them organize a lot of information. Experts store in information as schemata. The better people are at something, the more organized and powerful their schema about will be. For examples, players who are new to the game of chess need a lot of little schemata. The first schema might be how to set up the pieces on board. The second might be how a queen can move, and so on. But expert chess players can pile a lot of information into one schema with ease. They can look at a chessboard in the middle of the game and tell you what some of the starting moves were, the strategies of each player, and what next move is likely to be. They could certainly recite how to set up the board and how each piece can move. What would take many schemata for novice players. Expert players can store in one schema. This makes retrieval of information faster and easier, and it makes it easier for the expert to put new information about chess into long-term memory. The expert can remember a lot of information as a single chunk. Key takeaways. If you want people to remember something, then you have to go over it again and again. Practice really does make perfect. One of the major reasons to do user or customer research is so that you can identify and understand the schemata that your particular target audience has. If people already have a schema that relates information that you are providing, Make sure you point out what that schema is. It will be easier for them to learn and remember the information if they can plug in into an existing schema. To be continued. Thank you for watching the video. Like, share, subscribe.